Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to episode 177 of my weekly Q&A show, People's Questions, where I answer your awesome questions that you guys have sent to me over the past week. And to jump right into them, the first two questions come from a newbie, which goes by, well, apparently this name, but apparently you want me to just call you Daisy. So, welcome to People's Questions. And you want to know, could I do another PlayStation Plus giveaway? Not really sure what you mean by giveaway. I mean, if you're talking about going back to my original People's Questions format, where after the end of every video I would give out, you know, one of these PlayStation or Xbox cards, which, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know I gave away hundreds of dollars worth of PlayStation and Xbox money. I don't know, maybe if people want me to go back to that, because I do distinctly remember that there was a lot of people that wanted me to stop doing that, so that's why I stopped. Your next question is, have I seen Spy? No. Not a big fan of Melissa McCarthy. Just didn't look like a film I'd be interested in. The next two questions come from another regular of mine, or my first regular, going by the name of Draven G, and you want to know, who would I like to be the main villain or villains in the next Batman movie? And you personally would like to see Clayface. Oh, personally, as crazy as this may sound, I'd actually really like to see a Red Hood kind of semi-villain in there. I mean, you could definitely throw the Joker in there too, because now I did a video talking about a couple of trailers, and apparently there was a theory about the possibility that Joker was going to kill Robin in the Suicide Squad movie. However, that's been debunked. But I really would like to see a storyline involving the Red Hood. You certainly have the plot points that you could certainly add coming off Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad to do a Red Hood storyline. And seeing how Ben Affleck is going to be directing and co-writing this, I can't see why not. You wouldn't want to do that. It's very familiar. It's recently been very popular, especially if you've played the, spoilers, Arkham Knight storyline and the Under the Red Hood storyline. So I would love to see Red Hood and the Joker in the first solo Batman movie. Your next question is, what is my overall opinion on New Game Plus? In New Game Plus in general for games, there's nothing really wrong with New Game Plus. I just think that when you start a new game with the, you know, your progress that you've had from your previous game save, it just makes the beginning sections a lot easier. But that I wouldn't say that's really a bad thing, because like if you've already beaten the game once, then having the advantage of being able to beat it a second time much faster isn't really such a bad thing. The next three questions come from CRH Gaming, and you got three very, very simple questions, so I'll just run down them really quickly. Your first question is, do I like popcorn? Yes, I do. Your next question is, do I still have college loans? No, I don't. I actually finished paying off all of my college loans from my time in college back in 2008. So yeah, as far as I know, I am debt-free from college. And the last question is, do I ever want to have kids? That's very cryptic. I want other people to have kids. Myself, that's, I don't know, maybe that's a question I'll probably have a clear answer in a few years. The next three questions come from Jeff D. Brock. Hope I said that right, or just call you Jeff. And you want to know, why do I think they didn't include Arrow and the Flash from the TV universe to the new DC Cinematic Universe? Oh, well, this is an easy one. The reason they don't want to put them together is because they don't want to confuse, they don't want to do what Marvel did, where the events in the movies kind of affect the TV show, so they want to kind of keep them two separate universes. And because if you're connecting the TV show with the movies, then the actions in the movies have to obviously play a part in the television show, and that might end up confusing people. But so I guess they just want to keep the universes separate. Your next question is, which studio would I like to see make an open-world Marvel game? I have no idea, because I personally would not be interested in an open-world Marvel game. I mean, unless it's Spider-Man, but we've got plenty of those. And the last question is, are there any genres do I think that the Assassin's Creed franchise should try out? Well, I'm officially kind of done with Assassin's Creed, and outside of the kind of platforming stealth aspect that it already has, I can't really think of too many things that you could actually do with Assassin's Creed gameplay genre-wise that would be very different. I think the only idea you might be able to do, but would really be stretching it, is if you did like a Assassin's Creed fighting game. I mean, you certainly have enough characters, both among the Templars and the Assassin Brotherhood, but are they unique enough in combat so that they all feel different? So I guess you might be able to get away with a fighting game, but no, don't quote me on that. The next set of questions come from Jansen 10 Uncle, and you want to know, what are my 3 favorite Game Boy games of all time? Ooh, that's an easy one. Tetris, Super Mario Land, which is the very, 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 very first video game I ever played in my life. And I want to go with Pokemon. I'm on the fence of whether or not I want to say Crystal or Yellow. Maybe Crystal. Yeah, Pokemon Crystal. Yeah. Going on to the next 3 questions. Oh, sorry. So going into your question, sorry. You want to know, do I think we will ever see a God of War 4 anytime soon? I really thought we were going to see an announcement of God of War 4 at this year's E3, because I do distinctly remember hearing someone talk about it at some sort of convention. I think it might have been the PlayStation Experience. Someone was kind of hinting at it. But since we didn't hear about it this year, then I have to believe we're probably going to hear about it next year, because they just released a remastered edition of God of War 3, which I think is completely pointless, because God of War 3 still looks really, really good, and the only difference that I can see when I saw like a little comparison on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3 is that the PlayStation 4 version is a little brighter. But heck, if I just, brighten up the screen on my television, then that kind of fixes the problem. So, yeah. The last question is, what is the primary reason I like PlayStation more than Xbox? Oh, that's easy. Simply, I've been with PlayStation since '97. I've never really had too many bad experiences on the PlayStation, on any of its generations, and it's just a much more diverse console in terms of its games. I mean, even from day one, the Xbox consoles have always been shooter online consoles, and I am not an online shooter person. I mean, believe it or not, this is something I'm a little bit shocked about, but ever since I finished beating Ori and the Blind Forest, I have not turned on my Xbox in almost like 2 months. And I recently bought an Xbox game for it, but I haven't even popped that in once, and I think the next time I'll be turning on my Xbox is probably just for Halo or Gears of War, because, I'm a little excited to play those. It's just a shooter console, point and simple, and in my opinion, that's really all it's really good for, just in my opinion. I know there are definitely some gamers out there that love their Xbox and they play it for all their multi-console, genre games, but to me, it's really, that's what it's for. With PlayStation, I can play fighting games, I can play racing games, I can play platforming games. It has much better exclusive titles. It always has been, in my opinion. Halo, the Xbox has always been dependent on Halo and Gears. You take those 2 away, what do you got? Forza? Or however you say it, Project Gotham? Those really aren't AAA titles in my opinion. So, yeah, I'm not saying the Xbox is a bad console. There are definitely some exclusives that I saw at E3 that have me interested more into the Xbox, but it just hasn't quite gotten to that point yet. It certainly can get there down the road, but as it stands now, it's still not on PlayStation's level. But I don't think it's a bad console at all. And going on to the next 2 questions coming from Atlas Ultima, once again. You want to know, what is my favorite weapon in the God of War series and why? Oh, well, that's a real easy one. It's obviously going to be the Blades of Chaos, because it's one size fits all and it can kill just about anything. The next question is, who is my favorite character in Mortal Kombat? Next question. If I made a custom lightsaber, what color would it be? I probably would make it green, and, just to give you guys a heads up, I actually did purchase a custom lightsaber that I ordered back in May, and I don't know what's taking them so damn long, but it should be arriving probably this month, if not sometime next month before I go on my trip, and I'll happily do a review for it because I kind of add a couple of things to it that I think would make it look really, really cool. So I'll be really excited to show that my lightsaber off when it arrives. The next question comes from another newbie going by the name of Daniel Leon. I think that's actually a pretty interesting name. And he wants to know, was I excited about the remake of Final Fantasy VII, but am I afraid that Square Enix is going to somehow ruin our beloved game? Okay, here's how I feel about the remake. I could do a whole video about it, so if you guys want me to do a whole video going over my thoughts, but just my initial thoughts on it is, this is a remake that a lot of us, including myself, have asked for years, and the fact that we are now, it's finally a reality, is just a dream come true. Are there going to be some changes to it? Yes. Are there some changes I want to see to it? Absolutely, in terms of story, plotline, and gameplay. And there's a particular scene in 7 that even back then when I was 7 and played this for the first time I thought was stupid, and I think you guys know exactly what I'm talking about if you've played 7, and it deals with a certain character having to do some cross-dressing, which I think is completely disrespectful for the character, but you know, I think even people have been talking about this, say they want to keep that scene in the game. I hope they take that out. And in terms of gameplay, I don't think we can go back to that old turn-based system. If anything, I think we could actually incorporate the battle system that we have in Final Fantasy 15 into this game. I mean, just having the ability to kind of roam around and control our actions and having the ability to switch between the characters in the middle of battle, I think would be a really, really great upgrade battle system for the game. But, you know, even if this game ends up sucking, we still have the old copy, the original version of Final Fantasy VII, which I easily would pop in at any time and enjoy playing just the same. And your last question is, what are my hopes and expectations for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain? Well, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be better than 3, 4, and 1, but I am expecting it to just be a solid conclusion to the franchise. This is... You know, I got a certain rant that I got to put up, which I'm not sure if I've already put it up by now. But, you know, story-wise, I don't have too many high hopes because it's very limited with the type of story that it can tell in its particular time period. And seeing how we've already been told that Solid Snake's not really going to be doing a lot of talking has me a little bit on the edge. It's just a number of story elements. Gameplay-wise, I haven't yet played. I don't know what the gameplay is like because I still have not opened up my copy of Ground Zero, which, you know, I'm getting close to being able to open it. But yeah, gameplay-wise, I'm sure it'll be fine. Story-wise, I just don't think it's going to be all that great. I think it'll be okay at most, but I'm not expecting anything spectacular, even for the last installment in the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Going on to the next 3 questions come from Tescular Fortitude, which that's a very... That name kind of, I don't know, that seems a little bit weird, but it's definitely creative. And he wants to know, have I played Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition? Yes, I have, and I have beaten it. And right now, I'm just trying to beat it right now with Lady and Trish, and then I will have my review up for it. And then once I have that up, I should get my next Versus Series matchup up, because I'm trying to get some footage for Nero, and then I need to update some status on his opponent. So, just to let you guys know, if you're still waiting for my next Versus Series matchup, it is still coming, but I just want to get some more footage and just do a couple more research tabs to upgrade some characters. And this kind of goes into your second question. Did I like it? Yeah, I loved it. I would say the only disappointing thing, which I will be sure to go over in my review, is that I didn't like how, in terms of story, they didn't really expand on any of the extra characters. I think we get like one quick cutscene with Virgil, but it doesn't really explain anything, and I really wish that they would have taken some time to actually create some new levels, instead of just having us play through the same levels that we would play through as Nero and Dante, but just with Virgil, Lady, and Trish. I really would have liked to see some new levels, just to show some more creativity, but maybe that was a little bit too much to ask. And your last question is, what are my thoughts on the future of the Devil May Cry franchise? Well, I really hope there is a Devil May Cry 5, and I really hope it takes place after Devil May Cry 2, which technically Devil May Cry 4 takes place before 2, so I would really like to see a story take place after 2, which, you know, I did a whole video talking about what I would love to see in Devil May Cry 5, and they kind of did it a little bit in this special edition of Devil May Cry 4. But yeah, you know, just, yeah, I don't want them to do DMC. That, I try to pretend that game doesn't exist. That that was not a really great Devil May Cry experience for me. And it kind of disrespected a couple of storyline elements that I don't like to talk about much. But I really do hope Capcom announces one soon. I mean, we have Tokyo Game Show coming out. I'm sure we might hear an announcement of Resident Evil 7, so there's no reason why we shouldn't hear an announcement for an official Devil May Cry 5 game. And going on to the last 3 questions coming from Rob16164, and you want to know, have I ever in my life been so frustrated with a game that I got enraged in destructive behavior like smashing or throwing a controller or yelling excessively at the screen? Yeah, I wouldn't say... It went a little bit further than just being angry. It actually made me want to stop being a gamer because it was kind of heartbreaking to see a franchise that I grew up and fell in love with so young kind of end up being systematically destroyed. And that was with Final Fantasy 13, and you guys know my history with that game and how passionately I hate that game. I'm willing to go on record and say there is nobody on God's green earth that hates that game more than me, and I would be surprised if anyone could hate that game more than me because I took that game as a personal offense. And I've wanted to do a rant on that game for years, and I actually have like this 40-minute rant that I filmed like 3 years ago that's still on my PlayStation 3. I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna upload it because really it's just me just kind of ranting for 40 minutes, and you know, I almost cry in a couple scenes. I almost break some stuff, and I have a copy of it and I want to break it so bad, and you know but like that's beside the point. That's the game that really pissed me off the most. No other game has ever been that close to really pushing me to that level than that game. Going into your next question, sorry if you mentioned this before in another question, but what did I think of the first Mortal Kombat movie? Oh, I love it. This movie is awesome. I don't care what anyone says. This is a clear example of how you can take a concept that really doesn't have much story, give it a story, and make it work. I think some of the fight scenes still hold up. The acting isn't all that great, but heck, I wasn't expecting much. This came out in '95, and I still watch it at least once a year, and it is still enjoyable, and it still has probably one of the most badass opening songs of all time in all cinematic history. Love this movie. And this kind of goes into your second question, or your last question. Have I seen the sequel Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and what do I think was the single worst moment or aspect of that cinematic gem? Oh boy. Well, okay, I'll put it like this. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is kind of one of those movies that kind of falls to the category of it's so bad it's good, and you know, I like to watch it with a group of friends when we're drunk. But I would say probably the worst element that I can recall, because there are definitely some things in that movie I actually liked to this day. I would still defend a couple of aspects. Is I really hated the animality animations. I mean, my God, that CGI was, I mean, even for '97, that looked horrible. I mean, the Sci-Fi Channel had better CGI graphics than that movie does, and they just look horrible. Why they added animalities in that movie in the first place makes no sense. And if you're gonna use animalities, use the correct ones. I don't know what Liu Kang turned into, but that did not really look like a dragon at all. They picked the wrong dragon model. That looked like a demon. And I don't even know what the hell Shao Kahn turned into. I don't know what his animality, I didn't even know he had one, but turning into some type of really weird, slimy Hydra just looked disgusting. And that was just terrible to watch. And with that, those are all the questions you guys sent for this particular episode. I'd like to thank all of you guys for making this episode possible. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure you type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them into me before next Wednesday before I start filming this. And like always, make sure to keep it to 3 questions a person so these don't get too long. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.